the insider, Woj for ESPN, sent a tweet that James Harden really wants a trade. He does not want to play for the Sixers. But Philadelphia is not going to trade him. A few minutes later, another tweet comes out. A source close to Harden says he doesn't want to go to training camp. He doesn't want to play with the Sixers. We've got back and forth speculation. It's a worthy topic a little bit lower in the show. Until a video came out this morning during James Harden's Adidas-sponsored tour, guess where? In China. And this is what he said.
Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of again. Thank you, man.
That's a first. Never in my career have I seen a player come out that emphatically and talk about a team president or owner or GM or manager. Although there are players who say, I don't want to play for Steve Nash anymore. Kevin Durant said, it's either me or him. This sort of emphatic statement, in China no less, and that's not a coincidence. You all remember the Daryl Morey China-Hong Kong incident that cost the National Basketball Association tens of millions of dollars? You think that it just so happened that James Harden doesn't know his audience? He knows exactly who he was speaking to. People in China haven't forgotten about Daryl Morey. So what do you do if you're the Sixers? Josh Harris puts his head in the sand and says, I'm all about the Commanders. Don't bother me about anything Sixers related. I got a football team to run. Ask Magic. No, forget that. I'm with my family wearing Commanders stuff. We're turning this around. We're trying to save Eric Bieniemy. We're trying to apologize for everything that's going on in their training camp. We can't fight so many battles on so many different fronts. Daryl, what should we do? Daryl's saying, I'm not going to make a trade. I am not trading James Harden unless it's a trade that makes sense for this organization because we have a better chance of winning a title with James Harden than without him. Wrong. We want to make sure our chances don't decrease by having James Harden gone without the requisite return. And then the video comes out. I don't care how much you don't take things personally. I don't care if you have a show called Nothing Personal. When Daryl Morey sees that, there is no coming back from this moment. James Harden can skip training camp all he wants. He can miss games like Kyrie. He can start getting fined. No problem. Josh Harris may say, hey, Blitzy and I spoke. We want to save his money because the Commanders need some help. We're just going to suspend him. And then Daryl Morey will say, we can't win a championship like that. And then Joel Embiid will say, I don't want to be here anymore. We're not a championship caliber club. The Philadelphia 76ers have no choice but to trade James Harden now, no matter the return. When James Harden opted into this year of his deal, he said that he opted in when there was an understanding that the club was going to trade him. He opted in with the understanding that everyone was going to get their way in this situation. The only thing that's changed since then is that other teams have not been willing to give to the Sixers the assets that the Sixers think that Harden is worth. Now, there's some delusion there. James Harden is not a championship player. James Harden is not the centerpiece of a championship team. For Daryl Morey to think that the Sixers have a better chance of winning a championship with James Harden means they have a 5% chance without him and they have a 7% chance with him. Whatever, you're not a championship team. When there is a misunderstanding between a front office and other front offices on the worth of a player, you get the Lillard situation. When there is a misunderstanding or a difference in the evaluation of a player, you get stagnation. That's fine in the normal course of a league season. That happens every day. When we value our player at X, you value him at Y, therefore we can't make a trade. No problem. It happens before the MLB trade deadline. It happens 50 times. You're throwing out different trades to different teams. Nah. We view that prospect only as a B. Oh, well, we have him as an A. Okay? No trade. No problem. Move on. On to the next team. But when you've got a situation with a player who says he does not want to play for your team, Christian Yelich, I don't want to play for the Marlins anymore. All right, we'll trade you. They didn't have to trade him. Christian Yelich was not going to sit. He was going to be miserable, but he certainly was not going to sit. Players who demand trades from teams, the Colts player who wanted the trade. Coca, you're going to have to help me. Jonathan Taylor is the name that comes to mind. Well, I think this weekend we found out, he's going to report. There are some players who stick to their principles. Bell sat out. So it can happen. James Harden sitting out? I wouldn't have contemplated that as a possibility until this video. James Harden cannot go back on his word. You can go back on a trade demand. You can go back on all sorts of things that you do that aren't as emphatic. But when you make that video, which will be viral, it will get attention today. It just came out this morning, and we're live at 8 a.m. Everyone's going to pick it apart. There's nothing to pick apart. That's the end of the relationship. It's not the, hey, I don't love you when you do this. Hey, I think we may need some therapy if you do that. This was, Daryl Morey is a liar. Let me say it again. I will never say never. James Harden did. I will never be a part of this organization if he's in it. So you think Josh Harris is going to wake up today and fire Daryl Morey and say, James, please come back. Look, we took care of it. NGTH, not going to happen. How does this end? It ends with tears and a journey. And here's the journey. The Sixers are trading James Harden. Josh Harris will walk into Daryl Morey's office and say, Daryl, I choose you. Do the best you can. Get expiring contracts. If we have to waste a year, we're going to sit with Joel. We're going to explain to him that, hey, it didn't work with Harden, but we've got a plan. Here's the free agents available. Here's the money. Here's what we're thinking of using it on. What do you think, Joel? But you cannot go into the season with James Harden suspended.